Hello and welcome to the Tarkis Zone. Thank you for joining me. We're in the game Black Desert Online today, and this video is going to be another beginner's video. Well, it's going to have a few different types of content in it. I will be addressing some other money-making stuff that I do, but this video is really about showing or actually answering some questions that new players have. And one of the questions that was previously asked to me was, okay, is the beer making something that is going to be fruitful for me? How is that going to really help me in this game? Well, I have to say that if you're going to have workers out in the world making your own beer, does make sense to me. Now, you could buy the beer off the auction house, the marketplace, and feed your workers that beer that you buy, but I would suggest making it yourself. And the reason why I suggest making it yourself is for this reason here. I'm going to scroll down here. Okay, so we're looking for this dish here, poorly prepared ingredients. And you're asking yourself, well, why is that important during the beer making process? Well, it is. And I'm going to show you the process, and I'm going to show you what this dish is going to do for you. So let's first talk about the ingredients you need to make beer. And I'm talking about the core ingredient here. Now, that being your grains or your potatoes. So what you can see here is I've got wheat. You can use wheat to make beer. You can use barley to make beer. You can use potatoes to make beer. You can use sweet potatoes to make beer. You can use corn to make beer. And you obviously can use the specialized items that you occasionally get, like the highly quality potatoes and even your special sweet potatoes. Now, when you use a blue and a green item, you don't need as many components. Honestly, I normally just sell these on the auction house when I get them, and then I utilize these normal ingredients. So the other thing we're gonna need is sugar. I obviously got some sugar in my warehouse. I don't know why I got it sitting there, so I'm gonna put that in my inventory. Well, we're gonna get the core material, so let's go with the corn first, right? I mean, if you're asking yourself, Tarkis, how do I get these items? Then you're definitely going to have to put a couple workers out in the field to make this work. And let me address that. How do I get these items? I'm going to quickly go to the map here. And again, bear with me. This is a beginner's video, so those people that are expecting some great stuff out of this video for advanced players, you're not going to really get it. This is really basic stuff, and it's probably going to be boring for most, but I'm going to try to do this so that it makes sense. Alright, so here, right below Heidel, is we've got a wheat node here. We also got a flax node here. So my other videos talks about flax. Now you see I'm not even got anybody doing the wheat out of this node, because I got enough of it, right? So I told the worker to stop doing it. So here's your wheat node, and again, that's right. I mean, so if you don't do any other node for beer making, there's one right outside of Heidel. Now, if you go to this farm here, outside of Heidel, I believe there's a wheat node. There's a wheat node right there. This is a flax node, and this is a pumpkin node. Okay. Well, this is your wheat node, so this is where you can get your other wheat. So if you sent 2 workers out of Heidel, wheat, and that should be good enough for you. But if you're like me and wanted to get a whole bunch of different types of ingredients, we need to go up towards Vilia. And outside of Vilia is your potato nodes. So here's a potato node right there. Over on this farm, this is a potato node. So if you wanted to you could send a Heidel worker up there to get those nodes if that's what you want, as long as you've got this road connected. But early on in the game, let's say you just started the game, you could get at least one worker out of Villiers to go to either one of these 2 nodes. And again, the only way that you can harvest this node is to invest in the global. You would invest your contribution points here, and then you'll have to click on the actual node itself, the farming node, and invest contribution points. I think total investment here is 2 contribution points to get both those. Once you're able to get that wheat node, it will ask you to send a worker. And if you've got your worker out of Villia, then you can just send it over there. Now, the thing that you need to know as a newer player is the fact that every town that's got a warehouse is going to allow you to get 1 worker without needing to get lodging. So you can go in Villia, because it's got a warehouse, and go to the worker manager and say, look, I want to hire a worker. And they're like, oh, here you go. Give me this much silver and you can have this worker. And it won't require you any lodging. And that's going to be true regardless of what city you're in. As long as the city has a warehouse and a worker manager, they're going to say, okay, I'll sell you this 1 worker out of there. So you can, off the bat, Villia, Heidel, and Calpheon, boom, 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 and there's 3 workers right there that you have to pay silver for. You don't have to get lodging for them. And you can send them out to do whatever you want. Now, if you wanted to work both these potato nodes, and you want 2 workers at a Villia, at that point you'll have to pick up 1 slot of lodging in Villia, and then when you get that lodging, see, I've done that. See, you'll see that I've got lodging. See, I've bought lodging here, so that means I've got more than 1 worker here, and that allows me to have a multitude of workers. Now, this lodging only gives me 1 slot, I believe. Yeah, it's only 1 lodging, so 1 extra worker. There are some lodging in the game that you'll be able to get more than just 1. You'll be able to piggyback, like Heidel's got a whole building that you can get lodging out of. All right, so the corn, you're probably asking yourself, well, Tarkis, where'd you get the corn? Again, I shut that down. I don't do that right now, but your corn is here, so it's outside of Villia again. You would have to connect all these nodes to get here. But your corn is right here. Boom, boom. Sweet potato, you're asking yourself, well, you showed me sweet potato. Sweet potato is by Altanova, okay? And I am constantly doing sweet potatoes because why not, And they're right here. So you would have to invest in connecting until you get here. And again you could send a worker out of Altanova, or you can get a worker out of this town, because this town has a warehouse too. So you can get your worker and just connect those nodes like I have done to get up to the sweet potatoes. That depends on which place you want to send your worker out of, because this place is going to give you a worker, and then obviously Altanova will allow you to get workers out of Altanova. So you just got to decide how you want to connect your nodes. So that's really those core ingredients that you need to make beer making go well for you without having to buy that much ingredients. So let's also look at the tool that I use to make my beer on, and I've got a couple of them here in my warehouse. And this is it. It's a cooking utensil. It's the biggest cooking utensil that you can make in a tool shop or a workshop. And let me quickly show you how you can do that. Now, I will also go to the vendor to show you what's available without having to build one. This building here, I've got storage right now, but when it's not storage, I make it into this tier 3 workshop. Okay, and you're probably asking yourself, well, Tarkis, you clicked on it so quick, I didn't see what the numbers were. So it's 8-4. So 8-4 Heidel, at any given time, I could switch this to tool workshop, and then there I would level it up to 3. And once I get it to 3, I then can make this Calpheon cooking utensil. You can see what the ingredients are. They're not that bad. I usually make 10 or 12 of them at once, and I switch it back to storage, and then I have enough utensils to last me 6 months, because these utensils last forever. And that's what's great about them. Because the other utensils that you can buy outright from the store, and we'll go to the store so I can point those out to you, those other store-bought utensils are not going to last that long. You're going to have to replace them. You're only going to get maybe 40 minutes of cooking out of them, and then they'll stop working because they've got a durability that runs down. So when you use a cooking utensil, it's got its own durability. When it reaches 0, you stop cooking. But for me, I want to be able to take 3,000, let's say I take 3,000 wheat here, and see, I'm not overweight, so that 3,000 I just added. Now I will go through that entire 3,000 and my cooking utensil will still be good to do another 3, maybe 9,000 more. And I'm going to run over to the store where you buy the rest of your ingredients for the beer making process. And here you go into this store here and you talk to this person, this NPC here, and this NPC is going to say, oh, I got a shop, look at my shop. Now this is the one I'm talking about. This is the one, if you're going to not build your own utensils, you want to buy this utensil right here. It's 50,000 silver. Now the cheap one is 1,000 silver. So if you're starting off, you can do the cheap one. The thing about it, it's got no good durability. So you might get through 500 wheat, 500 potatoes, and then it's done. And then you'll have to slap another one down, which is fine if you want to micromanage it. At least with this one, this 50,000 one, is you'll probably be able to do as much beer making as you want before it's done. And then you just replace it again in your store, or in your house, not your store, in your house, because you've got to place it in your house. And I'm going to buy one of these so I can show you how to place that in your house. I might as well add that to this video. So now the other thing you're going to need is this leveling agent, and you'll notice that I probably already have some in my inventory, so I'm not going to buy any more. There it is. You're going to need 2 of those per beer attempt, and then you're going to need sugar, and you're only going to need 1 of those per beer attempt. And you'll see what I mean by that when I start putting that into the cooking utensil when we go to do it. And then the other thing you're going to need is water. And that's the thing that's going to, weigh the most. I've got it already in my inventory. I got quite a bit of it in my inventory. So I don't need to buy any right now. So there we go. Those are the things that you're going to need. So let's go over to my house and let's start this process. I'm just going to run there real quick. As you know, if you've watched my videos, I don't do much pausing. I don't do much cuts. You know, if I'm doing multiple topics, I kind of try to blend all the topics into one continuous video, because I like continuous take videos. It just seems seamless to me, and it's less work on the back end for me, at least. So here I am. I'm just about to walk into my house. Here's my house. Going to go in, and when my house loads up, you're going to notice that I've got one of those big, beefy cooking tables that was in my warehouse. There's one already there. But I'm going to go into the house placement again, because this stuff is popping up. This informational, it keeps on popping up. It's going to be behind this window, and you probably didn't see me click on it because it's behind that pop-up. But it allows me to get into this interface where I can place things into my house. And as long as I've got that cooking utensil in my inventory, it will show up here in the list. So I had to scroll down. All this stuff that you see gray, these are things I've already placed in my house. With the check marks, blocks, and check marks, those are things in my house. So I got to click on that. I place it down. I can turn it around. It doesn't really matter. And then you hit place. Then you hit escape. You hit yes, and it should be there. There it is. See, it's a lot smaller than the Calpheon ones that I make. But again, this is the one that if you want to just buy it from the store, here we are. And from here, you want to hit R. And this is where you put your ingredients in. Now make sure you get a cooking costume on, because that's going to make a big difference in your cooking experience. It makes everything a lot better for you. So make sure you got your cook's clothes on. Then you hit R, and you want 2 of the agents. Okay, you want 1 of the sugar. You're going to need 6 of the water. And then you're only going to need 5 of the whatever you choose to use, corn. And in this case, it's the wheat. So it's 5 wheat, 6 water, 1, 2. Okay, now hit continuous. Hit yes. Tell how many you want it to make. So this would be 255. And the reason why you see 255 here, because that's when this is when this cook table, 255 attempts from now, this cook table will be no good, and I'll have to replace it. Whereas if I'm on the Calpheon cook table, it will give me, like, depending on what I got, sometimes it says you can make 900 attempts, and I'll just sit, and even when I do the 900 attempts, there's still more left on the table for me to use. So it all comes down to how often you want to replace or swap out the cooking utensil, is if you want to make them or not. So you can see I'm making the beer. the beers here. I got 262 beer at this particular time. So 265. And that's per attempt. So at that time, I got 3 beer for 1 attempt. And that's what's great about it. Depending on what your cooking level's at, you'll get more and more drop, or more and more quantity. Quantity than if your cooking's low. So if your cooking is not that good, you might only get 1 or 2 beer per attempt. And in my case, I can get 3 to 4 beer per attempt, depending on what your cooking's at and what your RNG is. Now you also notice that while we were watching my inventory, this dish came in. And this is the dish I'm talking about. Dish with poorly prepared ingredients. Now, you can see I've got 3 of them already, and I didn't even start with any. Now, I've also noticed that you seem to get these RNGs more often when you're on the better cook table. That's the other thing I noticed. And it might not be true. I just noticed that everything seems to go smooth when you're using the good big cook table, and then when you're using the smaller ones, you don't get as many RNG dishes. And see, I've got 2 different dishes that I've got. And this takeout food is a good dish, and I do collect those. But this is the one that you want, and we're going to get a couple more of those in my inventory here while we're waiting. And I also want to show you that there's another RNG component to this, is the cool draft beer. And I'm hoping to get a couple of those while we're sitting here. So I'm getting the beer. That's not a problem. Let me see if I've got anything that can boost that's my combat. I don't think I've got anything that's going to boost my cooking. My gathering, fishing, movement. I don't see cooking in that list. No. So you just got to bear with me. Yeah, cooking is a slow process. But again, you can minimize your screen and watch Netflix or play a different game. A lot of times I'll do that. I'll minimize my screen, play Hearthstone or World of Warships. I can do that while I'm cooking on my computer. See, I'm getting these dishes. See, each dish gives you something different from an NPC. As soon as I get one of those, I got one. I'm sorry, I didn't notice it. Here it is, cool draft beer. That's another RNG component to the beer making. So you've got your normal beer, and then you've got your cool draft beer. And the cool draft beer gives more stamina back. So what I normally do is, and now I've got 3 of those cool draft beers. See, I got 3 of them now. What I normally do will sell those, because those sell for quite a bit, and I just use the regular beer for my workers. Now, you could decide to use your cool draft beer for your workers. Again, it restores more stamina back per beer than the normal beer. All right. So we've got the dishes. These are the RNG dishes that you get. And you also get these dishes from Alchemy. They might call the dish. I have done no Alchemy in this game, so you must forgive me. I'm assuming you get the same type of dishes. But the dish that we're really wanting to get is this poorly prepared ingredient. All right. So now that you see me do that, I'm going to go outside here. Oop. Every time I try to go out that door, it activates that drawer. I have to go through this door here. All right. So here, if I go to my inventory and I right-click on any one of these dishes, but I'm going to right-click on the poorly prepared one here, and I'm going to say NPC location. That's a left click, and you'll see the auto pass system start, and then you just hit the T command. Now, for anyone who's starting this game, this poorly prepared dish is your bread and butter to contribution gain. Now, it might be a boring way to get contribution, just cooking all the time, but I will have to tell you that out of the 276 contribution points I've got, I would say 90% of those points came from this activity. Just AFK beer making and turning in this one dish that we're running up. And I want you to see where this guy is located. And I'm going to actually hit the M key so you can get a situational targeting that you know where I'm coming from. So I'm right now running through Heidel. This is where I am. And the autopath system obviously runs while you're in the map. And this is where I am and going. Now, while we're here, and this is the seamlessness of my continuous videos, I also want to talk about this farm. Now, this farm has pumpkins. Sometimes pumpkins sells real well, and sometimes they don't. So you can take a gamble as if you want to invest in this node pumpkins. Now, the next farm down is the one I mentioned in my other video to get to savagery, the trace of savagery. It tells you now when you hover over nodes, it tells you now what you get from those nodes. And that's here. You got to come here, talk to the NPC person, invest 30 energy, and this will unlock. So I'm almost at that farm. Now the other farm that I want to talk about is the honey farm. And I thought the honey, yeah, the honey's in this here. I'm sorry. So I had shown you the pumpkin icon here, but it's the honey that this is honey. So if you invest in honey manufacturing, then you can get honey from this location, and that's going to be good for you because honey sells for quite a bit. Now you notice that I clicked there where my auto path is, but yet my guy's still running. If you click anywhere near a node within the round circle, so let's say I want to auto path here, okay, and it's going to bring me in the middle of the forest. But if I click anywhere in this circle, it's automatically going to bring me to the node manager, and then it'll bring you right to the node manager, and you'll talk to the node manager. And that's what's great about if you click within that circle. Now we're going to talk to the person that turns in the dishes, and that's this guy right here. Dish with poorly prepared ingredients. You say yes, and you just hand them in. Now, because I'm at 276 contribution, it takes quite a bit of those dishes to get me to the next point. I got 800 of them sitting in my warehouse. Well, that's the beauty of turning those dishes in when you've got low contribution, because you might get 3 or 4 contribution points for just one cooking experience. So that's great, because they make it so that you can get the first 100, 150 contributions real easily in this game. So that, again, turning in these poorly prepared dishes is the way to go. But while we're here, and I was talking about this node here, this cooking honey node, definitely you want to invest there. As you can see, I'm invested there. I don't have a worker there right now because I haven't actually clicked on my worker interface in a while to tell people to go do their tasks again. I actually just got back from a little ice rescue, and then the game crashes. Woohoo! Look at that! Well, I got the point across. You saw how the mechanics of this work. And it seems like this is the beauty of making my videos. It just kind of tells me when to stop. So thank you for joining me. This has been the Tarkis Zone.